medicine, clinical neurological sciences, and our nursing practice. And I'm so excited to be celebrating this today. I have the honor of being co-chair, executive co-chair with Dr. Christy McDonald for our anniversary. Dr. McDonald is our interim vice chair of the Medical Advisory Committee and the department head of emergency medicine. Down where our booths are, so we're so excited. As the MC, I will start with our land acknowledgement. We acknowledge that the hospitals, from the London General Hospital in 1875 to the Victoria, University and Children's Hospitals today, continue to be situated on the traditional territories of the Anishinaabe, Haudenosaunee, Lenapewauk, and Chinungton nations, on lands connected with the London Township and Sombre Treaties of 1796 and the Dish with One Spoon Covenant Wampum. Our neighboring Indigenous nations, the Chippewa of the Thames First Nations, the Oneida of the Thames, and the Munsee Delaware Nation, continue to live as sovereign nations with individual and unique languages, cultures, and customs. We recognize that the ongoing effects of settler colonialism on the health of Indigenous peoples, their experiences within a dominant healthcare system, have been variable, and the experiences of racism continue to act as a barrier to seeking care. As a nurse and as a healthcare leader, it's not enough to understand that Indigenous nation populations may be at risk for poor health outcomes. I commit to educating myself about Canada's colonial history, understand how settler colonialism is a determinant of health, and reflect on how our institution and practices may actually be perpetuating inequity in health. By confronting these truths, the reconciliation begins to take actual meaning. It's at this time I would like to call up, share a few words of knowledge and wisdom. Chris comes from the Oneida of the Thames First Nation and is a valued member of our elder program through the Indigenous health team. Welcome.
Thank you. Sagoli Sagweg, Dawazlak Yongits, Ogoali, Onyadag. Good morning, everyone. It's great to come and celebrate the sesquicentennial, the 150th anniversary of the hospital here. You know, I can remember as a young boy going to South Street, where it used to be known as Victoria Hospital. And then as I got older, I began to hear murmuring throughout the practitioners and the nurses and everything, where, you know, oh, the university is better than Victoria. It's better than St. Joseph's. But I'm so thankful that today that everyone has merged together as one, because the thing is that we're here to help people. And also as a young boy, we had a clinic, and I think I was sharing this with a few of my colleagues this past week, is that we would gather in one little building, and that was like our clinic. It was like our hospital out on Munsee. And I was telling him, I said, I can remember my little legs just a-dangling on the bench, waiting to go in. And then the nurse would come in, or the doctor would call us in, one at a time. So you can imagine what health looked like for us as Indigenous people. And like Deborah was saying, I come from the Oneida Nation of the Thames, right next door to Chippewa and Munsee. And we even, with that little clinic hospital, they used to also take care of people down the road from the Moravian Town First Nation as well. So when it comes to medical science, medical help, I've seen a lot. And most of all, what I've seen here at London Health Sciences Centre and the Victoria Hospital is that now you're starting to see the traditional medicines that we talk about. We have to merge together as a people. We've had this, how would you say, our practices for hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years. And yet we still practice them, and it's all got to do with healing and wellness. You know, I come here and I see you all. Some of you come from different countries, and I welcome you, as my forefathers would have done as well. You come here because you want a better life. They didn't think of that when we were stripped of our culture, stripped of our understanding of medicine. But I'm so grateful today that we are able to work together. I have maybe some of you that are in the audience today. Maybe you have come and sat with me and I've talked to you, given you some words of knowledge, understanding of life. It doesn't all stem from a prescription. It stems from our words. Words are healing. And that's the one thing that we have to begin to look at and work together as, helping each other to be a better community, to be a better city, to be a better province, but most of all, ourselves. Being honest with ourselves. And most of all, loving ourselves and loving our neighbor. And I say, Yawat go, which means thank you, big thank you in our language. It's so wonderful that we were able to voice our words now in public. We were not able to do that years ago. You know, as a young boy, I was stripped of my language. Soap was put into my mouth. You cannot speak that language. It's forbidden. But today, our young people are rising up and are being able to speak. They're being able to take the education that they want, such as nurses, doctors. We have, I believe it's something like 6 doctors in our community of Oneida. Out of them 3 of them are doctors in medicine and theology, education. And it's so great to see that, plus nurses. Nurses that, you know, they probably could fill up the room. How many First Nation nurses we have. But we need to work together, just as you need to work with us. And with that, I say, Yawat go. And if there's any Ojibways here, Chimigwich. Aho. Nagiwa.
We would like to formally provide you with tobacco as a thank you for the knowledge and wisdoms that you've and experiences that you've shared with us today. We'll see you over at University Hospital.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. We have an incredible lineup of speakers for us this morning. I'm so excited. Before you head out to enjoy the tours, to have a look at our historical exhibits, and to check out the booths that we have across both University Children's and Victoria Hospitals. It's now my pleasure to introduce David Mouche, LHSC Supervisor, to the podium to share a few words.
Thank you, Deborah, and thank you, everybody, and thank you, Elder George. Him and I got to know each other in Windsor, and it was great. One of the first days I came here to meet with Elder George and be here and look into the audience, and there he was, and I was like, hey, back home. So thanks, everybody. So it's an honor to be here. It's great to have all of you here. I mean, to celebrate 150 years, when I came here last year, they were talking about this. And being able to say that word, sesquicentennial, you can only pretty much say it once in your lifetime, right? So it's great to be able to use those words and to be here. And again, thank you, everybody, because this is a celebration for the last century and a half, and going back to 1875 and the opening of the London General Hospital and how it's evolved into what we're here today with respect to Victoria Hospital, University Hospital, and Children's Hospital. And I can tell you from my lens is I like to say we're all one. We're all part of London Health Sciences Centre, and these are the buildings that are London Health Sciences Centre. But what makes London Health Sciences Centre so great is all of you and all the people that work and that take care of the patients, the millions of patients on an annual basis that have to come here and get care, and the exceptional care each and every one of you provide in your role. And it's not just hospitals and systems at LHSC is not just about nurses and physicians. It's about everybody. Everybody plays a role in taking care of the patients that we serve and that have been served in this region for 150 years and for clearly decades to come moving forward. So I really, again, want to thank the team here, the LHSC team, past and present. Just a couple weeks ago, we had a retirement gathering, and it was quite exceptional to have a lot of the staff who are from the past and get together and celebrate the current and talk about the past and the things that took place. And I was joking with a couple before, but they told the PG version stories, and I bet you there's a lot better ones that they could tell, but they know to keep it at PG right now. But it's all of the individuals here that make LHSC what it is, and having our partners here, government officials, the deputy minister, the assistant deputy minister, and they'll be speaking a little bit later, talking about LHSC and the importance of the system and how important it is to, again, not only London, but the province and all of Canada. So really want to thank our government officials for coming here, our mayor's here today, and it's fantastic to celebrate today. So as I stated, London General Hospital opened its doors in 1875. There was a growing city and a need for a hospital to serve its peoples who live in the region, and over years, LHSC kept growing, establishing one of the first training schools for nurses, partnering with Western universities, medical programs, and expanding its services to meet the needs of not only London, but all of the region. And then again, continuing to expand through world wars, global pandemics, and countless events that have shaped the world. The one steady force has been LHSC through all of that. So right now, today, LHSC is one of the largest research-intensive acute care hospitals, teaching hospitals, in the province of Ontario and all of Canada for that matter. And we're proud again to be home to Children's Hospital here at LHSC, one of only 4 specialized pediatric hospitals in Ontario, and to the London Health Sciences Research Institute, one of the largest hospital-based institutes in our country for innovation. And when you talk about innovation here at LHSC, being from the outside and coming in, on the outside, I always knew how great LHSC was and how important it was to take care of the patients. But being on the inside and hearing the stories and sitting back and going, wow, and recognizing the firsts that took place here at LHSC over the decades. And there's been over 80 medical firsts that have taken place right in this facility, in the facilities that preceded LHSC, is amazing. Amazing the work that's being done. And just, it happens on a regular basis, from offering the first radiation treatment for cancer using cobalt bombs to more recent studies regarding fecal transplants to treat cancer is amazing. Just amazing work. So again, it's an honor to be asked to be here today and to speak to this. And we've gotten some great special messages from dignitaries, and I'm going to read one from Her Excellency and the Right Honorable Mary Simon, who's the Governor General of Canada. And she wrote us a letter where she said, "I'm pleased to extend warm congratulations to London Health Sciences Centre on its 150th anniversary. Since 1875, through times of change and challenge, LHSC has consistently demonstrated excellence and resilience, adapting to meet the evolving needs of the people of London, Ontario, and beyond. As one of Canada's foremost research-intensive teaching hospitals, LHSC continues to be a pillar of compassionate, patient-centered care while advancing medical knowledge and innovation of national and global significance. LHSC's leadership in areas such as organ transplantation, trauma care, and cancer treatment reflects the extraordinary commitment of its physicians, staff, researchers, and volunteers. This milestone is a testament to the collective dedication LHSC community and partners. Congratulations." So again, for those who want to read more messages of congratulations, copies from other dignitaries are currently on display on the welcome table, and they highlight just how respected LHSC is to not only London, the province, but all of Canada and the world for that matter. So as you celebrate today, take a little step back, and actually it's a great opportunity for each of you to kind of pat yourself on the back, because you are what makes LHSC as great as it is. And you are the shining star moving forward with respect to what stands in the future for LHSC. The future looks very promising for LHSC, and the commitment that the government and everyone does to support this institution, I can tell you, shows the importance of how important you are. And you guys keep doing what you're doing, and I'll figure out all the goofy stuff going on, and we'll straighten that out for you, okay? So you just keep doing what you're doing, and everything else will take care of itself, okay? So that's the deal. So thank you, everybody, for everything you do, and congratulations on being here today to celebrate today. Thank you.
Thank you, David. From someone who's been here a few years to someone who's been here over 25 years, the sentiment is the same. The people make this place. The people are the gold, and the people will be our future. So thank you for that. I'd like to welcome up Mayor Josh Morgan to provide some greetings from the City of London. Mayor Morgan.
Thank you very much, Sigoli. Hello, everyone. I'm going to time myself because I'm not going to speak from notes, and Councillor Pelosa knows that if I don't time myself, I will go on for a long time. I wanted to say a couple things at the start. First, to Elder George, I've heard you speak several times. Always learn something from you, and I deeply value our relationship with Oneida Nation of the Thames. The Chief and I traveled to a national Indigenous circle together, and I mean, each and every day that I engage with members of your community, I think I learn something new and gather a new perspective that helps me do my job better each and every day. So thank you for your words today. I really appreciate them. I want to recognize other elected officials in the room today. I know it's been mentioned, but from City Council, we have Councillor Hopkins, who is here, and Councillor Pelosa, who also serves as our budget chair. We're also joined by a Member of Parliament, Andrew Lawton, who is over there sitting with Councillor Pelosa. I think they're conspiring to make sure that maybe the feds and the municipality work together a lot better. I know the province is over here. We'll talk to you later. But so many good things have been said. In 150 years, you know, it's an amazing accomplishment for an institution in our city. You've heard much about the history, and throughout the course of the celebrations, you'll hear much about the history of this organization. I was asked, do you want to come speak here at Victoria Hospital and UH, one or the other? And I said both. I said both for two reasons, and I'll be very honest about the second one. First is 150 years doesn't come around very often, and both of these locations in our city have served the city well and helped many Londoners and those in our region and our province through some of the most difficult times in their lives. The second is it's in the afternoon, it's Friday, it's very close to where I live, and My son biked to school for the very first time today, and so this allows me to be there to kind of, you're biking home, but I might be watching. And I bring up my son Max, not out of randomness. And I'll try to keep myself composed here, but there's a point in Max's life where he had a very serious asthma breathing problem to the point where he was hospitalized here, right here in the building at Children's Hospital. And it was very scary as a parent, right? Because your kid can't breathe. I know there's many challenges that kids can have, and they're all very scary. But when your kid can't breathe, there's nothing you can do about it. You know, you gotta look to other people for help, right? And the care that he got here in this building, and the way that the employees and the doctors and the nurses and the support staff not only cared for him, but reassured me and my family. We even ended up staying overnight in the family room, thanks to the generous donations from philanthropists in this community. I can tell you it was like a very important experience in my life because who knows what would have happened without the phenomenal healthcare that we have in our city. Maybe I wouldn't be going home today to watch him bike home. And to even think that that's a possibility, is kind of a scary thing as a parent to think about. But to know that there are institutions like the London Health Sciences Centre, with the accomplishments that they've made over their history, and the accomplishments that they will make, and the breakthroughs in medical technology that make things simple and make things easy. I probably wouldn't even be standing up here today if not for the London Health Sciences Centre. Because in 2013, I went home from my job at Western University and I had a little bit of soreness in my side. I thought, this doesn't feel good. I'm gonna maybe go home. On my way home, it actually hurt so much that I was like, I'd better drive myself to the hospital. So I drove myself here, which I probably shouldn't have done, but and by the time I tried to get out of my car, I could barely walked in, by the next day I'd had my appendix removed. And so I think about those moments, and then you think about the thousands and thousands of people whose lives were saved by this institution. There's a lot of things we can celebrate about the accomplishments here, but there are people who are contributing to, who are living out their lives, who are being with family, who otherwise would not. Without the people in this room, the people in this institution, the people doing research, and the people providing care, and the people who support them. And to all the donors who support this organization, and all the government institutions who see value in healthcare, and for our other levels of government who continue to prioritize healthcare as one of the things that is Canadian to invest in and Canadian to provide to others. That makes this country, this system, and this city really great, and something that I'm very proud to be mayor of, and this is an institution that I'm very proud of myself. So I don't know how long that was, but I appreciate you letting me share some words of my own thoughts today, and congratulations on 150 years. I look very forward to seeing what this organization and its people do next. Thanks.
Thank you, Mayor Morgan, for sharing such personal experiences. We're very grateful that our partnership with the City of London allows us to continue to work together to care for our Londoners in those communities. And we each may have a story or many stories about the impacts of institution, whether that be because of the place it is that we work or because of the place it is we need to come when we need to. So thank you very much. I'd like to welcome up Deborah Richardson, our Deputy Minister of Health, to share remarks from the Ministry of Health. Thank you.
Neen Dalawisi Wabano Ningas Kwe, Delewe Winbigijawik. My name is Deborah Richardson. I'm a member of the Pabano First Nation on the North Shore of New Brunswick. I also have roots here in Ontario. My husband is in Anishinaabe. I live in Taganing, which is Garden Village in near North Bay, Nipissing First Nation. So just wanted to recognize Elder George. Thanks so much. What you said resonated because I'm a cancer survivor. And at first, when I was asked to be the Deputy Minister of Health, I was like, I'm not from healthcare. I'm a total imposter. And then my boss said, well, Deborah, you're a patient. You've gone through the system. And I was like, yeah, I have. I still remember the first day, everything from when I was diagnosed to the first day I went for my first chemo. And I was scared. I kept having to go to the washroom. I was just terrified. And her kind spirit when she approached my husband and I and said, Deborah, and I saw her name was Agnes, and I'll never forget her. Because she was the very first person that just calmed me down and gave me that comfort. And then everybody else along the journey helped with that. And it's all the people in this room. It wasn't at London, but it was at St. Michael's Hospital, and it was at Sunnybrook for me in Toronto. And for me, as a First Nations woman, and my husband's a member of the Three Fires Confederacy Medewan Lodge. For us, we're traditional people. And it wasn't just about the hospital. For me, it was about, I'm a pro of Western medicine, don't get me wrong. But for me, it was also traditional medicine and ceremony and understanding and having my conversations with the oncologist. Is it okay to take chaga? Should I do these things, right? And getting advice on those things. And then ceremony. And that's what guided me through my journey. And, because it is, what you said resonated with me. It's not just about the words. It is about the words, it helps, but it's about your spirit. And all of us have that spirit in us, and oftentimes we forget that. And we need to take care of our spirit no matter where we are, because when we're strong in our spirit, then it passes on to everybody's. And whatever your spirituality is, we all have a spirit. So just wanted to share that. It's just such an honor to be here to celebrate 150 years. It's just incredible. It's just an amazing milestone, and to see so many friendly faces and people here celebrating. The very first person I met when I came in through the doors was the former chair from your patient advisory circle. Amazing, like just so powerful to show that you are thinking from a patient-centric perspective. It just warmed my heart to see that. And then to meet, I also met a couple of the ladies from the retirement stories, and they did give us a little bit higher of a PG stories, but it was awesome. It's just amazing. And it's just a testament, it's the vibe. Right? You walk in, I parked up, I came through, it's the vibe that I feel. Music playing, I know that doesn't happen every day, but it feels good, right? Just the spirit and the energy in this room. So just wanted to recognize all the people from the past and the present, and then hearing your worship, your comments about your personal journey and your personal experiences. That resonates with each and every one of us, because every one of us has a brother, a sister, a family member, a husband, a wife, a partner that have gone through this system, the healthcare system, and it really means a lot. Wanted to also give a shout out to my two superstar colleagues from the Ministry of Health who are here, and Danielle Jane, who's the Assistant Deputy Minister of Hospital and Capital Division, and Carrie Waring, who's the Manager of Operations. I just wanted to say, we're really lucky at the Ministry that we're attracting people from the sector, and they're able to have that expertise to be able to have those conversations, and it actually improves our credibility with the sector when people know. So just wanted to share the team that's here. I encourage you to take some time to see them. I too am going to both locations. Dave was shocked. And I said, no, I'm here for the day. I'm not going to one and not the other. It's 150 years. He goes, yeah, but it's Friday afternoon and you have to drive home to Toronto. I'm okay with that. I wouldn't have missed it. I've never missed a party. There are a few things that Dave said, but I just wanted to share a little bit more about the journey of London Health Sciences when it began since 1875. With the opening of the London General Hospital, which was just a modest facility with a handful of beds and a small team of physicians and nurses. And then the London General Hospital laid a foundation for LHSC to evolve and continue to grow. And really, you did say it, but it is true. London is a leading healthcare institution, with one of the largest research-intensive teaching acute care hospitals in the country. You are very, very important to the entire system and to the world, I would argue. For 150 years, your hospitals have been in place for healing and hope. Hope for people like your worship, people like me. Generations of hospital staff have been here with patients, for patients and families, delivering really high quality, compassionate care, including during some pretty challenging times, such as tuberculosis health crisis in the early 20th century, or COVID-19 pandemic, where healthcare workers once again showed their incredible selflessness and commitment to patients and their communities during we all remember the difficult times. I was running jails during COVID, so it was not fun. We all lived there and went through it and made it to the other side. From the beginning, LHSC has been an integral partner and leader in healthcare teaching and education. And from opening one of the first nursing schools, Dave, that you spoke to in Canada in 1883, to the strong partnerships you've established with Western and Fauché College. You've helped train and shape, actually I talked to Dr. Philpott today, she trained here. Train and shape generations of healthcare professionals. LHSC has been a significant leader in healthcare and discovery innovation. You talked about that. The 80 and world first, when I read my notes, I was like, wow, that is incredible. That have advanced care in Canada around the globe, including cancer treatment, dialysis, and surgery. That is really important stuff to the system and to the world. LHSC research teams continue to drive breakthroughs in science and transform health outcomes, helping to keep Ontario at the forefront of medical research and advancement. And over the years, the partnerships between LHSC and the Ministry of Health have led to a lot of improvements in patient care, with recent examples including Ontario's support for the expansion of LHSC's innovative NASM Cadre Surgical Centre. And when Ontario became the first Canadian jurisdiction to publicly fund and administer Pluvicto, a new treatment for prostate cancer, the first patient received their treatment here. Working in healthcare has been really rewarding, and I know it can be a challenging space. I know this summer hasn't been an easy one, and I want to recognize your leader, David Mouche, for your guidance, leadership, and your friendship, to be honest. We're on a daily texting, calling basis, and it's amazing. And memes are included in that as well. So there's always humor involved. And just thank you, because you could hear it in your leadership when you were speaking to the audience here, and I could see it when we were walking along through the hallways about how supportive you are and committed to the team here. And that's so appreciated. I'm sure it's appreciated by everybody that works with you, but it's certainly appreciated by me. I know that London is in very good hands. And at the end of the day, that translates to patients that are getting exceptional care by the really wonderful people that work in this building. So congratulations on your 150 years, and you should be really proud. And thank you again for everybody, even organizing this event. I know it's a heck of a lot of work, so to shout out to every single person who's been involved in this. So, Wallaliak.
Thank you, Deputy Minister Richardson. So much of the history that you highlight and your personal experience, which we're grateful for you sharing, touches on the importance of the ongoing support and partnership we have with our government. So much of what we do here, so much of what we will do in our future really starts from support from our government, as well as the recognition. So I thank you for the recognition of the importance of LHSC's system position. We recognize that. We stand strong and firm in that, and we will continue to own that responsibility. So thank you. It's now my pleasure to welcome the first of two presenters for this morning. Shaylin Ryan is the curator of the Medical Artifact Collection for Western University, and the artifact collection dates back to the late 19th century and contains more than 1,200 artifacts representing health, medicine, and history of southwestern Ontario. The collection includes handwritten letters, photographs, documents, and artifacts, and spans more than just the earliest hospitals in London, the London General Hospital, the Beck Sanatorium, War Memorial Children's Hospital, and South Street Hospital, to everything from education, healthcare specialties, and research. It's a reflection of the diverse evolution of care in our region and reminds us of the impacts that each and every one of us have on the system here and well beyond. I welcome those that have come today to Victoria Hospital and those that will attend at University Hospital to check out the artifact exhibits that we have. We're so lucky that Western was able to help with small curated packages for us to look at today in celebration of our 150th, and we will maintain those as well for a little time to come. It is a unique opportunity to see some of those artifacts from across our 150 years. And so we're excited to welcome Shaylin today to share more about the history of medicine. Please join me in welcoming her to the podium.
Okay, thank you so much, everyone, for having me here today and for everyone who's spoken before me. And for allowing me to talk to you a little bit about the last 150 years of medical history here and in London as a whole. Unfortunately, 10 minutes is not really long enough to go into detail for 150 whole years, but I'm going to do my best. So to set the scene, I'd like you to turn your calendars back with me 150 years to 1875 and see London as it was in the later Victorian period. The population of the city sat around 18,000 people. In the wintertime, there was no snow removal, with the city instead relying on passers-by to pack it down as they went about their business. For the first time, you could take horse-drawn public transit in London thanks to the newly founded London Street Railway Company, which actually got fined for trying to remove the snow. Over the Thames River between east and west, the Blackfriars Bridge has just been constructed. Just the year before, the insurance company London Life was founded, as was the Women's Christian Association. London was also home to a fairly new paid firefighting force, organized only a few years earlier. In one of London's 3 newspapers that existed at the time, you might have been reading stories of many firsts and new beginnings from across Canada. 1875 saw the creation of the Supreme Court of Canada and saw Dr. Jennifer Trout become the first woman licensed to practice medicine in Canada, and saw Grace Annie Lockhart become the first woman in the British Empire to earn a bachelor's degree right here in Canada. Construction was just beginning on the Canadian Pacific Railway. You might also have read about the last surviving veterans of the War of 1812 being granted a sum of money by the Canadian government. This is the world into which what is now London Health Sciences Centre, then simply London General Hospital, was born. 150 years holds a great deal of history, extraordinary change both in our greater world and in the world of medicine. London General Hospital was opened just as germ theory was becoming accepted and as professional nursing was coming into its own. And it's been mentioned that London General Hospital had only the 3rd school of nursing in all of Canada. Surgeons did not yet wear gloves, and they relied on harsh solutions of carbolic acid and other antiseptics to clean their hands, tools, and workspaces. The hospital, like the rest of the city, would not yet have had hydroelectricity or telephones when it opened. Located on what is now South Street, the London General Hospital was built of brick with a slate mansard roof and a central entrance tower. And you can see the sort of picture of it that's over here. It was 2 stories tall, and it was ordered that a plank sidewalk should be laid out in front. 8 physicians and surgeons were on staff, with others acting as consulting staff. The resident surgeon took in a salary of a whopping $400 a year. The beginnings of the hospital were plagued by the same problems that always seem to attend healthcare: differences of opinion on medical practice, in this case particularly between the dominant allopaths and the small but very vocal homeopaths, and difficulties, of course, with funding. And yet, despite its small and contested beginnings, it flourished and continued to grow into the large, mature hospital that we're standing in today. One of the major factors of this flourishing is the emphasis of the hospital on research and teaching. I've heard it said before many times that without the London General Hospital, which later became Victoria and then onward and upward, the medical school at Western University may not have survived. In 1882, the medical school and the hospital became affiliated, and in 1883, the hospital expanded and jumped in capacity from 56 beds to 104. The medical school existed at that time in a small frame cottage between Wellington and Waterloo Streets, and the distance between them and the hospital necessitated the rental of horse-drawn transit from the aforementioned London Street Railway Company. Eventually, after one attempt that fell through, the medical school was able to move closer to the hospital into a larger building that was better equipped for the growth that it too was experiencing. While this partnership between the university and the hospital continues to this day, there's another way in which LHSC and Western University are linked that I'd like to take some time to talk to you about, and that is through the preservation of this history itself. Many of you know that very recently, LHSC donated 152 boxes of archival material to the archives at Western University. For the archivists there, and for myself and my colleagues in the history of medicine, this has been cause indeed for celebration. That's more than 1 box for every year since the London General Hospital was opened, and the material in them spans back at least that far. They include photographs, letters, artifacts, notebooks, and many other types of historical records that tell the story not only of Victoria Hospital, but also places like Beck Sanatorium, the War Memorial Children's Hospital, University Hospital, and the medical history of this region as a whole. Once hidden in these boxes, this new level of collaboration between LHSC and Western, between hospitals and heritage workers, between healthcare and the humanities, is going to allow for endless new opportunities for teaching and research in the history of healthcare in London, southwestern Ontario, and in Canada as a whole. Our purpose as heritage workers is to uncover, preserve, and give people access to their own pasts. As we speak, this work is now happening in the Western Archives as the archivists there work to physically preserve these records in acid-free folders and boxes so that they will last another 150 years. They're cataloging each file and artifact and creating finding aids so that researchers can have access to the information within. And the records of the last 150 years that they're working so hard to preserve, they're the stories of your past. And they will be the stories of your present 150 years from now. The stories of healthcare and medicine and medical history uniquely belong to all of us, to doctors, nurses, and all hospital workers and healthcare workers, and to patients and every person who has ever felt the impact of healthcare work in their lives. These important stories do not come to be preserved by chance or by magic, but by the conscious choices of the people whose histories they are. Historians and researchers will now have access to more of LHSC's history because they made a decision over and over again over 150 years to keep these records safe and then at last to donate them to an archive. In my work in the medical artifact collection at Western, I've conducted oral history interviews with a number of physicians and surgeons about their lives and roles in London's medical history, which are now preserved for the future. Many of these people have also generously donated medical history artifacts. Just last year, we received an endoscope and colonoscope set that were saved from the South Street Hospital when it closed. Now they're kept in our collection for use in research, teaching, and displays. And many of you here now hold the history of this place inside of you, your memories, your stories, and maybe even some instruments or equipment that you've held on to. It's up to all of us to ensure this history can last and be shared for years to come. As the medical landscape continues to change, looking to the past can help us hold on to the lessons we've learned, think in ways that we might have forgotten, and remember the purpose of the work that hospitals do. The history of LHSC is full of stories of innovation, care, and the hard work that improves all of our lives, and we would do well to remember all these things as we look forward to a future filled with even more. Thank you.
Thank you, Shaylin. As Shaylin was speaking, I was thinking in today's day and age of the social influencers and the unboxing that happens on social media. And I had the pleasure of visiting the archive facility, a state-of-the-art facility where our archives will be well looked after, and did peek into a few boxes. And so I'm so envious of your job. I know we gave you 152 boxes worth, but I'm envious of your unboxing experience for sure, and look forward to that being available to our community as well. So thank you. As we celebrate 150 years, we would be remiss if we didn't talk about the innovation piece of the history. And so it's my absolute pleasure to welcome Dr. Abdel Lawandi, Medical Director of the Nazem Kadri Surgical Center, who will share insights and experience from our cutting-edge advancements in patient care.
I'm not going to talk about the surgical center at all. If you really look at the history of London and Western together in terms of the institutions that were bound, over 100-something years ago, people probably don't realize this. We know our purpose, but you probably don't know the global presence that London has in terms of its impact. In terms of medical innovation. I've thought of medical innovation a lot. I've been fortunate to travel to a lot of different institutions. If you've ever been to Caltech University, you walk in and you see Nobel laureates, 45 or 50 pictures of Nobel laureates. And you start to wonder, well, what is in the culture of an institution that could create that much success? It's a lot of money, first of all. Harvard is Harvard because it has also a $70 billion endowment. Same with the Mayo Clinic, Cleveland Clinic. And so resources do attract people. So you wonder when you're in a condition like ours, we work in a public system, we have public universities and public hospitals, what then drives innovation? if you look at the impact that London has had, so first use of radiation to treat cancer, the Vinca alkaloids. It's a phenomenal story of the rise of these chemotherapeutics that are used till today, found in the local flora and fauna in London. This plant, periwinkle plant, if you look it up, it's actually considered an invasive species. And in the 1950s, it was being investigated because traditionally people used it as an anti-diabetic. And in Beer and Noble's lab, who were the primary authors on this in the 1950s, there was a technician. Her name was Helena Sprowski. She was a immigrant from Poland. She got no credit in this paper, but she was the one who actually noticed that when they gave this to rats, it suppressed immunity. And so they came up with the idea, well, what if we treat this in leukemia? This was competing with Eli Lilly at the time, and this was a race to produce this chemotherapeutic. This was published. This chemotherapeutic is used till today. It saved hundreds of thousands, if not millions of lives. And this was a serendipitous invention in a lab. Now, Helena went on to work in the War Memorial Children's Hospital at the time, retired in 1976. And this is just one small invention that has been discovered here, both in our hospitals and our university. If you look further, the first implantable cardiac defibrillator. If you look at cyclosporin, so cyclosporin, if you look at the work of Dr. Stiller and Dr. White, this was in the late 70s. Without the medications that were able to suppress immunity for transplant, we could never have the transplant programs we had. They ran a massive first trial in kidney transplantation using cyclosporin, came in the late 70s into the 80s, which launched London as a world authority, both in transplant surgery and transplant medicine. This revolutionized the way we dealt with patients who had diseased kidneys, aside of the first earliest work on dialysis machines. Of course, the most notable innovation historically would belong to Sir Frederick Banting. A small story on this, we have to be honest. So he was an orthopedic surgeon, believe it or not. He did work and teach in London, but he didn't really find space for his work in London, so he went to Toronto. It's a bit of a touchy point on where we give credit, but out of academic integrity, we have to give him credit. I'll give you a small story. I was once in a room with multiple international schools and high-profile hospitals, and they asked each person to get up and say where they were from. Of course, if you say London, Ontario, they don't know that. And the Dean of Medicine, who was then a psychiatrist from U of T, was in the audience. We were the only two Canadians in the room. So I thought, I'm going to talk about Banting. But he's probably going to lose his mind. So he got up and he said, I'm from Toronto. And when you're from Toronto, with all due respect to our deputy minister, anyone who's from Toronto believes that when they say I'm from Toronto, everybody knows what that means. No matter, you could be in Dubai or Barcelona, they say I'm from Toronto. People say, yeah. So in this meeting, multiple schools all over the world represented, Singapore, Europe, all these areas. I stood up and I said, I'm from London, Ontario. You may not know London, Ontario, but I'm sure you have felt its impact. And its impact included, and I talked about the Vinca alkaloids, the first use of radiation, the low-dose progesterone birth control pill, the genetic description of type 2 diabetes. I went on in this quick list and I said, and the advent of insulin, somewhat shared with Toronto. So he came up to me after, and I'll be honest with you, he was going to have he almost blew an aneurysm. But if he had, he would have had surgery that had been designed by Charles Drake at University Hospital. So these are only a small amount. In the field of genetics, we underestimate Dr. Barr's contribution in terms of the Barr body, which really changed our understanding of X chromatin and what came out of it. And now we're in this era of AI. And you know, people are, if you've gone to, I was at a summit on AI in medicine, and if you look at AI in medicine right now, in terms of studies, AI has beat radiologists, pathologists, dermatologists. These are peer-reviewed papers. And believe it or not, I saw a presentation on psychiatrists. So people preferred an avatar talking to them than a psychiatrist, which floored me. Because I thought if there was ever one field in medicine that could not be supplanted, it's definitely psychiatrists. And so we don't know what this innovation is bringing. And there's a lot of AI innovation going on here. It's in neuroscience. I mean, we have robots right now that are being developed and programmed at UH with neurosurgery that can do spine surgery almost independent of a surgeon being there. So what this cusp of innovation will bring, I don't know that anybody really knows. But I will tell you a small story. Do we have 2 minutes, Chris? Okay. I'll tell you a small story just about people, as David had said. This was in the early part of COVID. It was 2020. So at this point, we had seen entire first world healthcare systems collapse. Italy had collapsed. Things were looking very dangerous. Surgery got very slowed down. And for anyone who knows me, you'd know that's kind of tantamount to killing me. But we had to wait between all the surgeries. We had these very strict protocols. And it was the winter, it was December, and Dr. Neil Perry, if you know him, he was then chief of surgery at Vic. He was head of trauma. And he came to me in the hallway and he said, Wendy, are you on call? I said, no. It was, I'm almost certain it was a Friday afternoon. And the days were very slow. And trauma here was never slow, but these were slow days because nobody was outside, nobody was drinking and driving, no one was falling, no one was whatever. He said, well, we have a problem. I said, what is that? He said, Mike Llewell, who's an emerge doc here, who works with first responders, so he'll go out with ambulance. He said he called me, and there's a young man trapped under concrete and metal, and they can't get him out, and I think we're going to need to do a field amputation. I said, okay, like outside? He said, yeah. An anesthetist, Muhammad Ahmed, he was walking by, he heard this. Now this is end of day, like Friday night. He said, okay, well, I'll come help you. Now, despite what surgeons and anesthetists believe, there's no surgery without nurses. And so everyone had kind of gathered around to hear what was going on. It was quite a dramatic story. And the nurse manager came quietly to me to say, I don't really know that I can send nurses into a collapsed building to do a surgery, and I don't know who to call. Like, just being completely honest, what's the policy and procedure here? 2 nurses from my OR, Paul Freeman and Ricky Lee, said, well, that's fine, we're done our shift, we'll volunteer and we'll go. And an ambulance had picked us up, we went to this site, and a young man was trapped, and, you know, we don't typically operate under such austere conditions. A cell phone has a light, it's cold, you're outside, someone is, trapped trying to give anesthesia. And we went in there with hard hats, everyone, and then we tried to set up a mini OR. And part of the problem of being crushed is that even when you extract someone who's been crushed, they can actually die. This was first actually described in a paper in 1941 over the London Blitz when London was being attacked. This was almost the first time we saw civilian infrastructure attacked in war. Much more common today, but back then that was not really seen. And people would be crushed, they would pull them out. We understand now that that's rhabdomyolysis. This was published by Bywaters and Beale. It happened to be an academic interest of mine. This isn't something off the top of my head that I'm telling you. Beale was actually a pathologist from Toronto. I'll only admit it to you. And so this crush syndrome, which was known later, the sequel of rhabdomyolysis and acute renal failure. And so this, young man was trapped under there for hours. It was cold, he was crushed. We were going there, and here we are having to make this decision in the field of what we're going to do next. Now, the true heroes in this story turned out to be the firemen who, dug him out and have these bladders that they inflate, and this was like wet concrete drying. It was quite dramatic. Anyway, he came back. We went straight into our proper OR. His limbs were reconstructed. The point of the story is that in that moment of need, despite the instability in the nurse management giving direction, the nurses all came, volunteered, and went at their own risk, and the entire team was intact and stayed and did the surgery after with us. Now, those young men, they, as far as I know, they did well from the last time I had seen them. But it's one of these stories where despite innovation, despite the fact that maybe, this iPad may be your physician in 2 weeks, I don't actually think you will ever replace that human element and that desire to do well for people. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Lewendy. Two things struck me in the conversation you had. The first being LHSC doesn't operate to support our community in isolation. So thank you for highlighting the firefighting teams and others that we work closely together with. The second thing that struck me was how important our value of curiosity is, and the fact that a curious question about a finding on a medication delivery changes the face of how we deliver those medications. And that's one small example of so many, the 81st, but also so many other things that we've contributed to across our history. So thank you so much. I have said wow in my head so many times, being co-chair of this important event. And today is one of those wows. Having all of our speakers today, it's exciting to hear the history from their perspective, to understand from that reflection our position in the system and how we support our communities. Before we wrap up, I do just want to, there's a bit of surprise today. If you have a look under your seats, I think that's for Christy. Yeah. Oh. Okay. Yeah, sorry, thanks. Sorry, okay. If you found an envelope, I preempted Christy's surprise, so way out, and we'll get to one of our fabulous 150th T-shirts. Now I would like to introduce my colleague extraordinaire, my co-chair of Perfection, Christy McDonald. I welcomed her earlier. She is our department head for emergency medicine and supports us as an interim chair for MAC. So
Great.
you,
Thank you
Christy.
very much, Deborah. We're getting close to the end of our formal presentation, but thank you, Deborah, very much, and thank you, everyone, for being here today. It has been a joy to take part in today's ceremony and today's program. Today reminds us that LHSC is made up of more than just buildings, walls, and hallways. It's community built on care, compassion, and connection. We heard, first of all, from Elder George about the value of community, the value of coming together as an organization, as a community, as a region, as a province, as a country. We heard from Mayor Morgan about the integral part that LHSC plays in the City of London. We heard from Deputy Minister Richardson about the role that we play within our province and the responsibility that we have. We heard a great history that we can actually picture what LHSC looked like 150 years ago from Shaylin. And from Dr. Lewendy, very poignant stories about our history, but as well about our recent history and the value of people. The single thing in all of those stories, the single thread that binds us all, is we are the people, we are the future of LHSC, we are the past of LHSC, but we truly are the future of LHSC. Over 150 years, LHSC has grown and evolved to meet the needs of our city and our region. And Shaylin said, as she said, it grew, it started in 1875 hospital, very, very modest and austere at that time. But over decades, it grew to include children's care, maternity services, and opened the War Memorial Children's Hospital in 1922. By the 1970s, and some of us in the room will remember the 1970s, we had opened University Hospital and expanded again into what was then the Westminster site of Wellington and Commissioners, originally a military hospital for veterans. Renamed Victoria Hospital, this site allowed us to modernize and bring together specialized care programs. In Kira, it has been our people who have defined this hospital. Staff, physicians, researchers, learners, patient partners, and volunteers whose dedication has shaped our programs and services, and whose impact continues to be felt in the lives of patients and families each and every day. Their legacy lives on in the care, teaching, and discovery happening here right now, and what will happen into the future. To our team, for all of you in the audience, thank you for your unwavering commitment. Every act of care, every lesson taught, and every effort behind the scenes contributes to the excellence of our hospital. To our partners, to our government officials, to our donors, thank you for helping us advance care and for allowing us to offer new programs. And to our patients, families, and community members, thank you for trusting us to be part of your healthcare journeys. I also want to take a moment to acknowledge and thank the LHSC 150 Planning Committee, our committee co-chairs, Inesh DeCampos and Robert DeLate, the Communications and Public Engagement team, particularly Marianne Levigianis, Claire Swift, and Alex Timmel, and to all of our volunteers who have made today possible. Your hard work and dedication have helped bring this celebration to life. Also, I want to thank London Health Sciences Foundation and Children's Health Foundation for supporting and funding today's celebration. Thank you. As we celebrate today, we honor both our past and our present, and we look ahead to our future. What we do here every day in care, teaching, and research is built on the foundation laid over the past century and a half. Following this formal program, please enjoy the opportunity to enjoy and experience different parts of our LHSC story. In the B atrium, some of you will have seen this coming in, but please take a moment on your way out. You can step back in time with our historical exhibit, and you can also explore our programs and departments. As today, you can tour through their interactive booths or guided tours inside our spaces. Outside, be sure to pick up some food at our food trucks that we have waiting for us, or pick up a special boxcar donut for LHSC 150 at Faye's Cafe. If your schedule allows, please come to University Hospital to take in the programming happening there as today's celebration. As we close today's program, I encourage you to take a moment to reflect on the difference that you have made, or the difference that LHSC has made in your life. Be proud of the care and compassion that happens here every single day, and know that your contributions, your support, and your trust continues to shape the future of this hospital and the lives whom we serve. On behalf of everyone at LHSC, thank you for being here and being part of our story. Here's to the past, present, and future of great care, teaching, and research. I would like to now invite you all to enjoy a celebratory cake just outside the doors here. Please take time to mingle. Please share your stories. I think that's the joy of being here today, and the retirement tea that we had. It's really sharing the stories of impact that we've had and the stories that we continue to have. And it's the connections that we make here that will carry us into the future. So thank you all for being here, and thank you for your contributions. Enjoy today. Happy 150.